You're listening to Living Podcariously, bringing you real men's perspectives, unfiltered, unapologetic, and uncensored. Recorded live in the Living Podcariously studio in world-famous Cocoa Beach, Florida.
Welcome to Living Podcariously, episode 0? 0 part 2?
0 part 3.
Tach, how do we address?
Let's see. 0.3? I don't know.
0 the sequel? 0 the trilogy?
Zero, Return of the Zero?
Return of the Zero. Guess what that show is going to be named now? All right, well, so thank you for downloading episode 0. For some of you who have been prior listeners, Living Podcariously, that would be again. Living Podcariously has recently gone through a reboot of sorts. So we're kicking the show back off. It's myself, Adam, if you guys remember from the older episodes. Also, the permanent co-host of this show, Mr. Tach.
It's Tach, bitches. What's up?
Oh, shit. Oh, yeah. So, Living Podcariously has recently gone through a little bit of a change. Mostly we'll go through it a little bit for some of the older listeners, but we wanted to make sure we got an episode 0 back out there again for people to hear what Living Podcariously is all about. The show is going to be pretty much the same as it's always been. It's going to be men's perspectives on really anything and everything that could possibly be out there for us to get perspectives on.
Right. Yep.
A lot of stuff about women. A lot of stuff about, maybe movies or sci-fi or, video games or whatever. But
Indeed.
And it'll also be driven a lot by listeners. So our listeners of the show are going to send in emails, and I've got a few of them for episode 1 coming up.
Nice.
But it'll be very, very driven. What do you think about us doing another episode 0, Tach?
Hey, man, it's cool. I mean, it's a reboot, so it's cool. I'm down.
All right,
I'm
cool.
excited to see what direction we're going to go with this. I'm excited.
All right, so some people are going to ask, and we're going to go ahead and get that out of the way in episode 0. What happened to the old cast? So the old cast used to be Tach and myself, as well as Ron, and a character named Scarlet. So I'm going to give a brief, just real short synopsis on what happened to our old cast. And let's start with Ron, because that's probably the easiest. Tach, how far is your work from your home? How far of a drive do you have?
It's roughly like 30 minutes-ish. So
It's
about
not too
30
bad.
minutes. No.
Mine's about 20. It's not bad. I work up at the Space Center, so it's not
As do I.
It's not too far of a distance for me. Well, Ron lives an hour and like 30 minutes south of where he lives. Like a horrible drive. That's one way. And he lives an hour south of the studio for Living Podcariously. So
Right.
Getting to Living Podcariously from work is a 2.5 hour one-way drive for Ron, which he would do every Tuesday when we record. So, man, it just kind of stacked up on poor Ron. His hours were really difficult to work around when you're working a full-time job. I don't know if you knew, but you don't go into podcasting for making money.
Definitely
so
not.
This is a passion, a hobby of passion, not necessarily a hobby of profit. So for those of you out there thinking there's a lot of money to be made in podcasting, there could be if you work it right and you really sell out and, you do all this other stuff. We have some sponsors, and that pretty much takes care of our hosting costs, guys. It doesn't really make us a whole lot of profit. But, yeah, Ron's got a family, man. He's got 2 kids, a wife. He's helping out a lot of, a lot of stuff that he can at home, and the podcast is just very difficult for him to do. I'm not saying that this is the end of Ron. Ron will, he'll be back. He might do some guest visits, guest spots, something like that. You might hear him in the future. But for right now, Ron is focusing on him and his career and his family. And, dude, I completely understand that. We'll miss him, for sure. He did mention maybe he can get his buddy Vinny to do some call-ins for us.
Vinny.
But,
that guy's a douche.
Skadooch. But yeah, so that's Ron's story. It's pretty straightforward, man. He's just got some priorities he's got to focus on for him. The podcast is something fun to do, not necessarily an obligation. The other one, Scarlet. This one's a little bit more touchy. Scarlet, as well as Ron, is taking a break to focus on her career. She's been, I'm very proud of her, because I have a big history with Scarlet. Scarlet and I used to be married, and we, have been best friends, since we divorced. And she's a wonderful woman. She's moving on up to the east side. To no, I'm just kidding. She's
the deluxe apartment
to the high-rise apartment in the sky. Ron would be proud of that. No, she's Jesus, she's probably pulling 65 or 70 hours a week doing what she's doing. She's doing something she's never done before. I don't want to go into too much detail because it's kind of unique in the area, and I don't want to, give away what she does.
Right.
She's focusing on her career. And there's, to get real, the character of Scarlet was played by a person. She used an alias the whole time she was in here. That alias was Scarlet. I'm not going to give the name of the person it was. The people who know exactly who it was, but I'm not going to name her. The character that we helped to build into Scarlet, because I'm not going to put this all on her. We encouraged a lot of the extra behavior that she did on air.
Definitely did.
That isn't very, that doesn't portray who that person was.
It's not
in
a
real
good
life.
representation
Not
of the
at all.
actual person.
And that Scarlet is dating, and she's got some relationships, and some people don't understand that there's a difference, a disparity between the character that she portrays on air and the real life situation. So some of the stories that you might have heard about her dating and Tinder stories and stuff like that, while all based in truth somewhat, were very exaggerated. So with that, with that understanding, that affects her personal life. So if she does come back on, it will probably be her as a real person, not as a character portrayed as Scarlet on the show. But
Gotcha. So Scarlet will never be on the show again.
Probably not. Well, maybe.
However, the real person may.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. I'll get back to the character of Scarlet here in just a minute. One other thing I want to address, just because it's truth, and I try to be as honest as I possibly can on the show. I presented something during the last recording, and we didn't air this recording because it did get a little bit uncomfortable, but I presented something live on the air because I like seeing the folks' natural reactions, the spontaneity of the group.
Yeah, definitely.
I like to see that. Mm-hmm. So I proposed something in the last podcast when you and Ron were both in here, and it didn't go over so well. It really just didn't go over well with Scarlet. She really didn't, as 1/4 of the show at the time, she didn't like the direction that I was trying to take the show, and that led to some tension. And with everything stacked on top, that was probably the straw that broke the camel's back. She was fed up already with the schedule conflicts and with, things like that. And she had her priorities that she was focusing on. And, this one little added piece of change that I was going to try to throw in did not sit well. So she certainly let me know how she felt about that, which, hey, rightfully so. I didn't address it with you guys first. So that won't happen again. But
Gotcha.
That's that. So, hey, you know what? I love her. I hope one day she wants to come back in here and do some more stuff with us. And I still talk to her every day, so it's not like it's
that's good.
Ghost or something, but whatever. But I do want to throw something out there. So, and again, this is episode 0. I know we went into a little bit of, show drama, but hey, that is what it is for our listeners that have been devoted this whole time, all the people who download us and subscribe to us. I felt it was important to let those guys know. But, so here's the cool news.
Cool news. Here we go.
This show's dynamic. Like right now, it's just me and you in studio.
Yep.
The studio usually has 4, if not 7 people in it.
Right.
But this
sometimes
is
a bit out of control. Sometimes
a little bit. The one thing you won't have to worry about is being interrupted on this show right now. I mean, you won't, unless Ron calls us somehow and does it.
Interrupt us.
But having that female dynamic is something that I want to have come back to the show.
No, definitely. I like the female point of view.
Yes, but I need somebody special for this.
Yeah.
Now, Scarlet, the person who played Scarlet, was great because she didn't hold anything back. It's kind of what I would like with this other person. Now, granted, we learned our mistakes on how we drove that character Scarlet to portray something that maybe wasn't exactly truthful. We learned our lesson there, so we'll fix that on the next one. But here's what I was thinking.
Yep.
Open auditions.
Yeah.
For the folks in our groups of friends around here.
Yeah.
To fill the role of Scarlet on Living Podcariously. Somebody that can make it to every show.
Yeah.
Can come in and record, throw in that female perspective and give us, call us out on our bullshit when we will spew it. We certainly will.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, this is an explicit show. So you may hear, shits and dams and fucks and whatever in the show. It may not be nearly as descriptively explicit as it used to be, but it will still be explicit. You'll hear those words come out. But what do you think? What do you think of having?
I think that'd be awesome. Yeah, definitely. If there's anybody out there that wants to think they can fill that role and the commitment to the show, have at it. Let us know.
Send an email if you don't already aren't friends with me or Tach on Facebook. Send an email into show@livingpodcariously.com if you're interested in auditioning. I think that would be a fun show of itself to get, different girls in here. Yeah. Do a quick little interview, like maybe a 10-minute interview.
Game show or something. I don't know.
Oh, I like,
some sort of game.
I like the creativity here. We need a moderator though. Because me and you will be judges. Yeah. We need a moderator So maybe our boy Johnny, maybe from Taint Funny,
John from Taint Funny,
or Eric, or
Jimmy,
yeah.
possibly.
No, we'll see. But yeah, so we'll shoot that out there. I've already got a couple of people that are interested. Have had these conversations with behind the scenes. One of them you already know is April. She's short term though. She would only be a 6-month Scarlet,
right?
Because she's moving up to the University of Florida to be with Derek.
She's been on here a couple times. She's pretty good.
Yeah,
I like her.
She's certainly open to conversations.
But we definitely need somebody longer than 6 months.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, that's exactly what I was thinking. All right, so more on that later. More on that in future podcasts. You'll hear that down the road. And again, this is going to be the same type of show as it was before. Hopefully we'll have our, guest visitors back in that were the old hosts. You're going to get men's perspectives on everything and anything out of me and Tach. And we're going to be as, open and...
Or somewhat men's perspectives.
Yeah. Well, hey, you know what? We represent two different, directions from where, men are, the men's perspective comes from. So
right.
It's a good thing. Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's going to be it for episode 0. Nobody's going to listen to this one anyways, but at least we got
that's cool. Yeah.
A little bit of our old history, got some of the drama out of the way. I don't ever want to talk about the shit again unless it's something topical. But we got that shit out of the way. Ron, man, we would love to have you back up here. And Ron's wife, we love you for letting him, do podcasting with us. He's a blast, and
they will be missed, and we hope to see them again.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, this was episode 0 for Living Podcariously. Be sure to tune in, download, rate, review, subscribe. Facebook.com/Living Podcariously. LivingPodcariously.com. We'll get a facelift again here real soon. And that's it. Thanks for listening. I'm Adam.
And I'm Tach.
All right. See you.